Today, Insta360 is announcing its latest product, and this time it isn't a camera, it's this, the Insta360 Flow. The Flow is an easy-to-use run-and-gun smartphone gimbal. And with quick setup, powerful AI tools, and some really handy built-in features into this incredibly small package, this is going to be a really exciting tool for creators who use their mobile devices a lot. And don't let its small, portable design fool you, this thing is packing some really powerful features, so let's dive in and check it out. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Toys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Hey everyone, I'm Jordan with 9 to 5 Toys. Now the Insta360 Flow might look like a lot of other smartphone gimbals that you've seen, and there are a lot of very similar features in here, but there are a few hidden things up its sleeve. First, just looking at the overall design of this thing, as you can see, it will fold down for, super easy transport. And then once you have everything connected, flipping it up like this will actually turn it on and, get you ready to go. So it's very easy and quick to get set up. The other part of that setup is, connecting it to your phone. And the way you do that is with this little magnetic clip that expands to fit around different devices. You just want to make sure that it is centered on your phone. And then there is a notch to line up on here to make sure your camera is oriented the right way. You put it on there. It connects, and basically you're ready to go just like that. But there are a couple of really cool hidden features in here as well. Having a tripod or some place to set the gimbal down is always handy. And for the Insta360 Flow, it's hidden in the bottom of the handle here. So there's not another piece you have to keep and attach on the bottom to use. It's just built in there, ready to go. The other thing that's built in is a selfie stick. So this will expand to about 8 inches. And then you have a little bit of a longer arm there. So if you want to get a longer reach, or if you have this sitting on the ground and you want it to sit a little bit higher, that is built in there. Once again, just ready to go right out of the box. No extra bits or pieces to attach here needed. And one other feature of that selfie stick is, it does have a little hinged head here, so you can get a more comfortable grip if you are using that. So this is the handle by itself. The whole thing is pretty small and compact, and that means that the handle can also feel a little bit small. But this extra little grip cover, when you pop it on there, just make sure that it's not interfering with the trigger, because sometimes it can. But you pop it on there, and that's just a little bit more ergonomic, gives you another place to rest your finger. It's just, for me, it's a much more comfortable way to grip and hold the Insta360 Flow. And we'll get it turned on again here, continuing with the design. There is a USB-C port up here that can be used to charge your mobile device while you are shooting as well. So the battery life of this thing is rated to about 12 hours. You can also charge your device, while it's in use to get better battery life out of that. So it also kind of works as a battery bank. One neat design features you can see on the kind of the back side of this main gimbal arm here is kind of a smoked plastic. So you can see some of the, inner workings of the gimbal there. So it doesn't necessarily, add any functionality to it, but it kind of is a neat feature. But one thing that is hidden down at the bottom of that is a cold shoe mount. So a cold shoe mount is a great way to mount some accessories. And in this case, Insta360 is promoting that this works well for mounting a wireless microphone receiver. So if you're using like the, Rode Go Wireless, you can attach that here, run the cable into your phone, and then you have wireless audio as well. Once again, in this small package, that is a very powerful feature for creators who want better audio. I've used the DJI mic kit before, and typically when I've used that with iPhone gimbals, you have to have the receiver just plugged into the bottom here, and that can kind of throw off the balance and make it so it's not quite as stable as it should be. But being able to, mount that receiver here instead of actually on the bottom of the phone, just run a cable over there, that is a great way to use this and will make it more stable in use. And a couple more design bits on here. Obviously you can see there is the smart wheel, which this is where a lot of the controls are built in, and we'll take a closer look at that. There is a trigger on the back side, which has multiple functions, and then there is a USB-C charging port. This is labeled in, so that will handle charging the gimbal itself. All right, so now let's take a closer look at what Insta360 is calling the smart wheel. That's where all these thumb controls are here. So there is a thumbstick in the middle, and that will basically, control the gimbal's direction. So you can pan and tilt with that. One interesting thing here is that with the design of how the gimbal is laid out here, Typically gimbals kind of go to the side and down when they are 3-axis gimbal like this. This one, it's almost more at a 45-degree angle. And so because of that, depending on if you are shooting at the widest your phone can do, you might get a little bit of the gimbal in the corner there, depending on which way you have it facing up and down and how much that is pointing down. So one thing to keep in mind, but for the most part, in most shooting scenarios, that won't be an issue. The only time I had an issue with that is when I was shooting in ultra wide and shooting in portrait mode. If you are shooting in landscape, there's nothing to worry about there. But moving back down to the controls now, so there's a thumbstick in the middle and then there is this space around it. And there are a variety of controls in that space just around it. On the left side is a red record button, so when you are connected to the Insta360 app via Bluetooth, then that will start and pause recording. Over on the right side is a switch button. So this has a variety of functions. If you just push it once, it will swap between the back camera and the front-facing camera, so you can go to a quick selfie mode. If you double tap it, it will switch between landscape and portrait modes. Very quick and easy to do. And if you long press it after recording some media, it will play back the most recent clips or photos that you have captured. And down at the bottom is a power button, so you can power the gimbal on and off very easily with that. And up on the top of this wheel, there are indicator lights for what follow mode it's in. There is auto, follow, pan follow, and FPV mode. And to switch between those, this whole thing is actually a touch capacitive button. So if you put your finger on and rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise, that will change through the different modes. So very easy to do. And obviously that indicator light will let you know which mode you are in. And then lastly, for this wheel, there is a zoom control. So if you rotate this, it will kind of auto center, back to the middle, but this will control the zoom when you are connected to it via Bluetooth and using the app. And so it's textured along the outside, and so it's also very easy to use, just with one hand. It's not like you have to get your other hand over there to manually, do the zoom. You can just do it with one hand, and it works pretty easy for that. And then on the other side of the gimbal is the trigger, and once again, this has a variety of, functions that it can control. A single tap will start the tracking mode. It will lock on to whatever's in the middle of the frame. A double tap will recenter the gimbal, so it'll get the horizon level and make it so it's pointing forward. And then a triple tap will turn the gimbal all the way around if you want to be in a selfie mode or just do a quick 180 there. So that's a good rundown of all the physical features. Now let's talk about how it actually does for stabilizing. In my experience, testing this outside, running around, chasing my kids, I was extremely impressed with how stable this thing was able to keep my phone. Now, some phones these days are really good, with a built-in image stabilization. On the iPhone 11, it's not that great. So being able to run and use this to get, silky smooth footage of my kids riding a bicycle, I was really impressed with what this thing can do. I've used, much more affordable iPhone stabilizer gimbals in the past before, and while those usually work, it's still not the most stable footage. This, on the other hand, I was blown away by how good the video came out. One thing to keep in mind there is the price point. This is coming in at $160, so there are more affordable stabilizer iPhone gimbals out there, but once we get through all the features, all the app features, the stabilization and performance of this, you can kind of start to see that price point actually seems pretty reasonable. And quickly, let's touch on those different follow modes, how that stabilizes the camera. So the auto mode, that will adjust the stabilizer sensitivity based on what kind of activity you're doing. So if you're just walking slowly, it will maybe do some more, it'll follow your movements closer. But if you're moving quickly, like running along, chasing your kid on a bicycle, it will slow down those stabilization movements so it keeps it pretty steady. So it's not trying to keep up with all the movements as your hand's bouncing up and down. It keeps it nice and steady. And once again, through this footage, I hope you see that actually did it really well. Then there is the follow mode, which is what, we'll pop over to that real quick. Follow mode, it will follow your movements left and right, which is a pan, and then also all of your tilts. It will follow everything there, so it follows very closely to what your hand is doing with the control down here. If you hop over to pan follow mode, this is made to, it will still follow your movements left and right pretty closely, but as you tilt the gimbal, it's not going to follow those as much. Now this gimbal, it can't, tilt super far. So if you do get beyond kind of what it can do, it will start to follow that tilt motion. But if you're just keeping it reasonable here, it will keep the horizon locked. So a really level horizon. That's probably my favorite way of using iPhone stabilizer gimbals. And then lastly on here, there is the FPV mode. And this one, the other modes, always lock the horizon, so it always looks level. This one will actually follow you if you tilt left and right, so you can do some more interesting movements if you want to get really creative with it. All right, so now let's hop into the app and take a look at that, because, as good as all of the physical design and all the features are here, the app is also really powerful. So I'm going to start a screen recording so that we can take a look at what all is available in here. Up top, you can see what we are recording in. So you can change your resolution, you can change your frame rate, and because we are in slow motion, that's why that resolution is limited. If we go to just normal video, you can see we have more options here. So we can hop up to 4K, you can do 24, 25, 30, or 60. Once again, this is my iPhone 11, so a newer phone might have some more options in there. And we'll go back out, and you can also manually change or leave it on auto, all the exposure settings. So here you can change your shutter and you can change your ISO. You can leave it on auto if you just wanted to handle all that, or if there's something specific you're looking for, you can go over to manual and you can manually adjust those things. And then across the bottom, you can see that there are lots of different shooting modes. Pano photo, video, time lapse, time shift. And some of these things, it will automatically, change the orientation of the device, but not everything. There's also dolly zoom, widescreen mode, live mode, and then also hoop mode, which is another interesting new feature here. So obviously this is aimed at people playing basketball, but basically this top little bracket here, you just get the hoop somewhere lined up in that, and then the gimbal will actually track and follow you and the ball and the hoop and everything. It'll make sure it captures the ball going in and all the action going on the court. This is a video mode, and when it is tracking that, it will actually cut it down just into individual clips when you get the ball in the basket. So it's not one huge long video file, it's just the highlights of you getting the ball in the basket. And in my experience, just playing in my driveway, it worked really well for that. I was surprised by how well it could track. One note there on hoop mode is that Insta360 says it only works in a half court setup right now. It cannot do a full court. So something to keep in mind there. Going back to what else the app can do, there are face filters, there's an auto editing mode that will sync things up to music. So it's a really powerful AI-driven app that has a lot of control in here. You can also enable gestures for starting and stopping recording and tracking you around. So if you are just a single creator, this is an easy way to kind of track you around moving through an environment. So that's kind of an overview look at what the Insta360 Flow can do. Throughout my testing, I've been really impressed by this. Like I said, I've used some other kind of more budget-friendly iPhone stabilizer gimbals that they work and they help, but this is the first time I've been really impressed with how well this can stabilize my phone and how good the footage looks. And once again, with the hoop mode and their tracking and the AI control there, it worked flawlessly for me. And it's fun to see what new features Insta360 is putting on this thing, based on what they can do from the app. So if you are a solo creator or, trying to take your home videos with your kids to the next level, this is a great way to do it. It's a very compact package when you think about everything that it has packed into here, with the tripod, with the extendable selfie stick, the cold shoe mount. It's very easy to get set up and running. The app is intuitive and works really well. So for that $160 price point, this is a powerful tool that has a lot of different uses. Now, Insta360 has been on a roll lately releasing products, like the Link camera that we reviewed, just an incredible webcam, and really impressed with what this gimbal can do. So excited to see what Insta360 comes out with next. And that's gonna do it for this video on the Insta360 Flow. Let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you're looking for some other videos to watch, I will link to our review of the Insta360 Link, as well as our most recent video. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so others can find it easier, and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.